Hello and welcome to day 10 of the 30-day money course. I am Elizabeth Bukor. I'm your hostess here. I'm also the founder of Wealth from Little. Today, we're going to be talking about strategic savings, right? A couple of days ago, we had a look at your cash flow statement. So we had a look at all the expenses. We know what's coming in and we knew all the expenses that are going out. We also classified them into two main groups: essential expenses and non-essential, or the variable expenses. So your essential expenses were those that are more or less fixed. They're the expenses that you need to live to survive, right? That's the bare minimum of the expenses, right? So your accommodation, your transport, your food, your bills, right? And so the sum of these essential expenses is what I would call your living expenses, because this is how the money that you need to spend each month to live well, comfortably based on your current lifestyle, right? So now everyone should have some form of savings account, and you probably could have more than one. But if you don't, the first thing I need you to do is to open a designated savings account. And this savings account is for your emergency funds. Now, the one thing that I bet you have experienced is unexpected bills, things that you did not plan for and they pop up out of nowhere. In the Proverbs chapter 22, verse 3, King Solomon, he shared that the prudent foresee disaster ahead or they foresee difficulties ahead, and they can prepare adequately for them. Whereas the simpleton goes blindly and he suffers consequences. So it shows that, things can happen. We know that life is full of ups and downs, and therefore we have to prepare adequately for financial ups and downs. And our savings account, especially our emergency fund savings account, is specifically for those unexpected, unplanned bills. So I want you to open a specific savings account for your emergency fund. And how much we're going to put there is very much dependent on your living expenses, right? And how much, of course, you earn. So if you now know that your living expenses is a total of your essential bills. And now we can now start growing that savings account. We can now start growing this emergency fund savings account. And we want to start growing it for one. The first goal is to have enough money there to cover 1 month of living expenses. So if anything happens in your job, you have 1 month of money to take care of yourself while you figure things out. And then you want to grow that to 2 months and try and get to 6 months. But your first step is to have 1 month of living expenses saved in your emergency fund. What does that mean? That means if you looked through, you sorted out your money, and you found out that your essential expenses came to, let's say, £1,000 a month, then your first task is to make sure that you start saving up to £1,000 a month in your savings account for your emergency fund. Now, you might not be able to do that instantly, so you might have to do that in increments. So this month you save 200, or this month you save 50, or this month you save 100, and then you keep going until you get to that 1,000 as your first milestone. Or you might be able to do that really quickly depending on your income. So that's the first goal, to save 1 month. But then that's not where you stop, because that 1 month will just take care of you for 1 month. If something happens to your income, you want to ensure that you get to at least 6 months. 6 months saved in a cash savings account. So if anything happens, you're financially okay. So that's your first goal. So for today, if you do not have a savings account, I want you to open one. Now, a lot of banks allow you to rename your savings or your pots, or name them. For a long time, I called my savings account my rainy day fund, and it seemed like rainy days kept coming. Now I call it my life fund. So it's literally, because life happens. So I call it my life fund because life happens, sometimes for good and sometimes not the way I plan it. So you name it what you want to name it. and ensure that you've put at least, you start planning to get that first milestone of 1 month of living expenses saved, yeah, in your savings account for your emergency fund. Okay, so that's your task for today. Save 1 month of living expenses. And I'll see you tomorrow in day 11.